Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this is Creating an Inspired Life. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. We're going to have a great show as usual. I'm a registered medium at Lilydale Assembly, the largest spiritualist community actually in the world. And I'm also a certified spiritual life coach. And my passion is always to help you live your best life. And today, the coaching tip for today is all about assumptions. I've talked about assumptions before, but I've had a few things happen in the last couple of weeks that brought my attention to assumptions again. I'm, as you know, a medium, so I've been doing readings pretty much every day, anywhere from 4 to 6 readings a day for weeks now. And I've noticed that whenever I bring in certain spirits, kinds of spirits, I seem to go naturally towards some kind of a stereotype or assumption, particularly grandmothers. Because if I'm connecting with a spirit and I see or feel a grandmother, I'll say I have a grandmother here, and my mind automatically goes to my grandparents. My grandmothers, they're very stereotypically old-fashioned. They have the white hair, the glasses, their hair looks nice. They may have dressed up a little bit. They do some baking, just lovely, sweet old ladies. However, as I was thinking about this, as I noticed my tendency for that, of course, not every single grandmother spirit that comes in is going to be like that. And it's been fun to kind of sort through that and see what happens. And I started thinking about my own mother, who is still alive and is going to be 80 in a few months. She is not a stereotypical old-fashioned grandmother either. She basically rides her bicycle, 5-10 miles a day. She golfs. She drove her car almost the whole way across the country by herself, pulling a trailer. She's not much of a baker, doesn't really cook much. No offense, Mom, if you're watching. She makes good, basic food, the kind of food I like to eat. She is not a stereotypical old-fashioned grandmother. One day at Lilydale, while I was thinking about all this, I looked out the window to see a grandmother pushing a baby in a stroller. And I knew it was a grandmother because I'd been talking to that grandmother's actual daughter in my reading room. And this person was probably my age or a little bit younger. And I thought, she's not a stereotypical grandmother, and neither am I. I'm not a grandmother, and I still have time for that, but I could be one. Thank God I'm not right now. And so I started thinking about all of these stereotypes and assumptions. And in mediumship, I want to be a clear channel. I want to really experience the spirit without thinking or unconsciously falling back into some kind of a habit of stereotypes, assumptions, belief systems that are just based on some old-fashioned thing that happened a long time ago. It's the same thing for life, because we want to experience life clearly. We want to be a clear channel for life as well. We don't want to be in that habit of assumptions. But if you think about this just a little bit, it's kind of fun to think about as long as you don't judge yourself. It's fun to think about. We hear certain words and we automatically make assumptions. We get irritated with people because they don't act the way we assumed they would act. We get upset when we have problems because we assumed life would be easier. These beliefs, all these assumptions, stereotypes, those kinds of things come about through our experiences, through our life experiences, our interactions with people. We pick up beliefs, assumptions from everything, and they become a belief for us. And most of the time, we don't even know we hold these. We don't even know that we're living our lives based on assumptions and beliefs that we haven't really thought about. They've been just kind of developed out of the blue and just happened. They affect our perception. And when they affect our perception, what happens is we react to our lives a certain way. So these assumptions affect how we're living. We unconsciously react out of habit. And we're not really paying attention to what's happening in our lives. We're not really aware of what's going on. These assumptions and stereotypes, they color our view. They help us live without being aware consciously of anything that's really happening. So we kind of go through the motions of life rather than paying attention as much as we can. I have a client who was surprised to find out that her partner was an alcoholic. She had seen him drinking and knew he was a drinker, but hadn't realized to the extent it was. And because she doesn't have a problem with alcohol, it wasn't on her radar, so she wasn't really paying attention. She just happened to notice one day that he seems to be drinking an awful lot. And then as she's watching, she realizes it's a lot more than she even was aware of. She ended up basically waking up, and she could clearly see this issue. And when she realized this, she realized also she was basing her relationship on assumptions and hope that things are going to get better rather than on the facts of the situation, the reality that was really in front of her. This, when she woke up and saw this, she realized that the facts were showing her something different than she had expected. This issue colored her view so much that she started to doubt what she was really feeling. And she started to doubt what she was thinking. And she was in this world of assumptions and erroneous belief systems and all of that, that she had disconnected with herself and wasn't trusting her own feelings. She thought reality was a certain way, and she basically woke up and saw it was not the way she thought. Now, you can find out if you've fallen into a trap of assumptions, because you'll start to find yourself stuck in the same pattern. You'll have the same kind of problems over and over again. You find yourself always irritated with someone. You find yourself judging other people because they're not living up to your expectations. You're actually basing everything on assumptions rather than the facts. One very simple way to get out of assumptions is to look at everything around you as though you've never seen it before. So if you're driving down the road, you're just going down the road and you're not paying attention because you've driven that way 7 million times and you're just on automatic pilot. So instead of being on automatic pilot, pay attention to what's around you. See what's there. Have you ever experienced where you're going down the road and maybe you see a new billboard and you think, there's a new billboard there. When did that get there? And you find out it's been there for weeks, but you never noticed it because you weren't aware of what was happening. So try driving and paying attention to your surroundings. Look around, pay attention to the road, but look around, see what's going on around you. It's the same thing when you walk into your house. Pretend when you walk into your house, you're walking in for the very first time. You've never seen it before, and just look at your house with new eyes, as though it is brand new for you. Don't judge it if you haven't cleaned or it's cluttery or whatever. So just look at it and see what's there. What you're doing by becoming more aware of your vision like this. You can also use your other senses too. If you want to feel things, you want to hear things, that kind of stuff, you can do that too. But what's happening is this act of paying attention to your surroundings is actually retraining your brain. It's getting you to move out of habits, move out of assumptions. So if you can do that, just pay attention to everything as though it's brand new, you'll see that your brain starts to look at everything in a different way. It's actually kind of miraculous because it's a simple little step, a simple little idea, but it can make a huge difference. Just spend a day with it, just this day, and just see what you're noticing. Then as you do that, you can step into looking at a life problem. So if you're irritated at your partner, how is it that he's not meeting your expectations? I can guarantee you that something's going on. If he's not meeting your expectations, you have an assumption as to how he should be acting. And maybe you're saying to yourself right now, but I'm right, he should be acting that way. And maybe you are right, maybe he should be. But if he's not, then you're not really looking at the facts, the reality of the situation. Once you can see the facts, then you can make a conscious choice yourself as to how you're going to respond, how you're going to react, what you're going to say, rather than having your view distorted by some assumptions that set you off on a path of being irritated with people. You don't want to live your life without being consciously aware. You just don't. Can you imagine you go through your whole life and you're not paying attention at all? That would not be a good life to have. If you're stuck in a negative place, particularly in a relationship, I guarantee you've got some assumptions or something going on there. These things will color your view. They will get in the way. You won't be able to see things clearly at all. So remember my little technique. So simple, so easy, if you pay attention, to retrain your brain. Just look at everything as though you've never seen it before. And you'll be surprised at how quickly your brain can open up. You do that for a day, just kind of paying attention. Even if you don't remember the whole day, you'll start to notice a change immediately. It's amazing. So that is my coaching tip of the day. You can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com or on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzyden, Medium and Self-Empowerment Coach. And today we are going to go to our first caller, who is Julie from Pennsylvania. Julie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. You don't sound like you're doing good. You sound kind of low energy. How are you feeling?
Uh, I guess low
Okay.
energy.
You are some low energy. Okay. So what can I help you with today?
um, I haven't read everything on the site, but I was wondering if you had any messages from anyone that passed away.
Okay. Um, since we have just a short amount of time, is there somebody in particular you're looking for?
Yeah, Bryce.
Who'd you say?
Bryce, it's
Bryce?
my 2-year-old's dad.
Your who? Sorry, say it again.
My daughter's dad.
Your daughter's dad.
Her
Okay, thank you.
father. Yeah, her father passed away.
Okay. Well, let's just see if I can find him because I do have a man coming in. So if it sounds like him, it is him. If it doesn't sound like him, it's not. Okay. Because this one that's coming in, oh man, actually the first thing I want to do is apologize to you. He gives me the impression that he wasn't the easiest person in the world to live with. He also gives me the impression that he was a little bit on the more reckless side. Does that sound like him?
No, but I had a friend who passed away that was on the reckless side.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so I must have him instead. That's okay, don't worry. That doesn't mean, just so you know, that doesn't mean that your son's father's not on the other side or anything like that. That just means the other one is coming through first, okay? So as he's coming through, as this guy's coming through, he gives me the impression he's a little bit of a challenge for people, okay? He's also telling me, that's interesting that he's here first. I love it. He's also telling me, he's actually telling me he's very impressed by how you're handling some things that are happening in your life right now, that you're trying hard to do your best. You've been trying hard to put on a good face, but as we can tell from the energy of your voice today, that's tiring you out because you're not putting yourself out there as you really are for everybody else, because you actually don't want everybody else to know what you're really feeling. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
He's also given me the impression that okay. Did this guy he used to hang out with you and your husband or your son's father?
Daughter's father, and yes.
Oh, sorry. Don't mean to mess that up for you. So there's the feeling of you guys having a really good time together, having fun. Okay, I want to have a good time. I feel like we've got some good chatting going. I do want to do a little bit of drinking as he comes in as well. Is he a little bit of a drinker as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do some partying. Okay, right now is what I want to do. It's kind of interesting. Does your daughter's father pass on the more sudden side for kind of a surprise to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. And was there some kind of an impact or anything like that would cause him to pass over?
We don't know the results yet. Apparently, we're supposed to. Everything got switched over to the district attorney's office because the autopsy came back undetermined. So we're waiting for a result.
Okay. Because there seems to be an impact here. Okay. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means somebody hits him, like some kind of force hits the body. It's kind of an interesting feeling, actually. It just feels like all of a sudden my body feels like something's hitting it. So I don't know if that's the case or what's going on, but there's something is very strange there. Tell me this is wrong. I'm hoping you're going to tell me this is wrong. He didn't overdose or anything like that, did he?
No, he didn't.
Okay, good.
They did toxicology. They didn't see anything in his system, apparently. I don't know.
Okay, good.
They sent more testing out.
Okay, it doesn't feel like that to me. It just feels like an impact, so I can't tell what that is. Okay, but anyway, he may be stepping in. He's not as clear as the other person, though. The other one is a lot clearer. I think mostly because he's a lot more obnoxious and would make a point of being here. He is talking about partying on the other side as well. Okay, so he must have a very good sense of humor, this one. So I do want to acknowledge, too, the people around you who are helping you. He's given me the impression there are people who are stepping in, checking on you, making sure you're okay, all of those things. And making sure that things are going well. There's a lot of, there's too many questions. It's a real problem, and that's part of it. I am getting the impression of wanting to tell you not to spend too much time, if at all possible, worrying about how he passes, worrying about what really goes on there until you actually have some more facts with that. And because I do get a little bit of hesitation on, wanting to give too much information about it for some reason. I don't know that, sometimes if this person passes on the more recent side, your daughter's father, if he passes on the more recent side, they may not come in all the way right away in the beginning because they may think it's too upsetting. And it might be too much, and I'm getting a little hesitancy on that. And so that may be why he's not stepping in right yet, okay? So I don't want you to be concerned about that, okay? That happens sometimes mostly because they're trying to protect you. And the feeling I'm getting is that's why the friend has come in, because he's a happier person right now in terms of being able to come through and just try to make you laugh. He does tell me he gives you some really weird jokes sometimes when you guys are talking, and pretty much he will joke about anything and everything. So I'll just put that out there. I do get a lot of feelings of wanting to take care of you coming in from the other side, wanting to do everything just right. Okay, so that is very important to acknowledge. We want to make sure you're feeling comfortable. Okay, how long has he been passed, your daughter's father?
Since November 30th,
okay,
8 months ago.
Okay, and that's still fairly recent. So it would be interesting to see if you touch in with another medium at some point, if he comes in a little bit more than he is right now, because there's definitely a hesitancy about stepping in all the way. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's
weird.
He's stubborn, and who knows if he were to just tell me stuff. But.
Oh, okay. maybe he's afraid you're going to yell at him.
Yeah, probably. That's the second time I was told that this week, and I have personal friends who are mediums, and they said a friend came through too, and I know exactly who it is because he died a couple years ago in a bike accident.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's so weird sometimes when we're talking to spirit, on the other side there, because they're really the ones in control. They get to decide if they're coming or not. And if by some chance he thought you might be mad at him, he might not want to come through just because he doesn't want to hear it, or he might think you don't want to listen to what he has to say. That could be it too. Or he could just be stubborn and going, I still have control over this and I'm going to take care of it when I want to take care of it. That kind of feeling.
Right.
Yeah, which sounds like him, doesn't it? Yeah, he's an interesting one. You've got some interesting ones over there. But I do want to tell you, though, I do want to make sure I emphasize again that the people from the other side are looking over and are watching. So not to worry about any of that stuff. And also the acknowledgement of the people around you who are helping. And I do feel you have a lot of gratitude for the people who have stepped in and have helped and just made sure that they're there for you. So that's a good thing. Well, Julie, it was nice talking to you. Maybe we'll chat again sometime and see if he comes in. And good luck with everything. I'll be sending you lots of positive vibration and lots of love for you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. And that was Julie from Pennsylvania. It's always so interesting because, when somebody dies, Even it happens in my reading room as well. When I'm doing private readings, people want to talk to one person in particular, and sometimes they don't come in. And I know if you're the physical person looking for that person you love so much, or that you want to hear a message from, and they don't come in, it's just, you might take it personally, but don't take it personally. There's always a reason for it. We just may not know what it is. So we will move on now to Megan from Saskatchewan in Canada. Megan, how are you today?
Hi there. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How can I help you today?
Yeah, well, like I heard you say earlier that like you can't just get one particular message from somebody. So I'm hoping just any other message from the other side would be
Okay,
wonderful.
to see if somebody will come in for you here. I do have actually I have two people stepping in right now, so I'll go as fast as I can and see what I've got going. One of them feels very paternal to me, so I don't know if I've got a father or a grandfather, but he feels like a person who would take care of people here. You know, somebody who kind of goes along that traditional, stereotypical provider role, that kind of person, but an interesting, quirky little sense of humor that I do like. Does that sound like somebody you know on the other side?
So you thinking maybe a grandpa?
Yeah. Do you know him very well? Enough to know if I have him or not, if I give you more information?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And does he have an interesting sense of humor?
Yeah, he does. He was always really funny.
He's got some interesting quirks there with him, and I want to tell some stories and see how far I can take them as well. And the feeling with him is, boy, there's a lot of optimism with him. I feel him really enjoying life. Do you know if he really enjoys life? You know, like tries to get the most out of life and looks for the silver lining in problems and things like that?
You know what? I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice because there's a feeling of guidance energy. You know, I want to help you in your life, that kind of energy. I feel him really loving to hear the stories from people of what's happening in their lives. And he has very good advice. There's a lot of wisdom here with him. There's a lot of practical wisdom. So it goes practicality plus wisdom together, you know, and I can feel him wanting to help people do the best they can do with everything. Does he get sick before he passes? Because my stomach is giving me a really weird vibe, and sometimes that means an illness for me.
I don't think he... Now I'm wondering which grandpa this is because they both kind of are like alike.
Okay, that's okay. I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it may sort itself out as we keep talking, because there's definitely a feeling of something happening in the body, and it's giving me the same kind of vibe I do when I get like somebody who has cancer or something going on with the body starting to shut down, that kind of feeling. I do like, he's talking about his hair. Is there something significant about his hair?
Yeah, he has great hair.
Okay, he's talking about his hair. It's funny. I love when they talk about things that are random and they interrupt me when I was going to say something else. They want to make sure I still stay with them. And there's another feeling that's coming in too. I am feeling some stuff in the chest area now too. So there must be a couple things happening here. He's talking about how proud he is of you right now. He's talking about how he's very impressed by how you've been handling life. He says you were always one who was really quite responsible. You did what you were supposed to do, all of that stuff. And he says that you're a person that doesn't settle for less than your best. Are you one of those kind of people?
I would say so. Like, I've been through a lot, and I just chose to never, give up on myself, despite the circumstances.
That's absolutely perfect. No wonder he's proud of you, because we all have stuff in our lives, problems and all that. Sometimes people get a little bit more than the rest of us. But he's talking about how you keep going and you do your best, and you don't let other people knock you down, and you don't let situations knock you down. And he does talk about you kind of changing some things in your life, maybe getting rid of some people who weren't the best and all that. And also the feeling of you'll do just about anything to make sure you're going to get where you need to be. if you have to take a crappy job for a bit, you're going to take a crappy job for a bit until the next one comes along. That kind of energy where you understand that sometimes it doesn't work out the way we think it's going to, but you will do whatever you have to do to keep going. He's also telling me you're very good with people. People love to talk to you. You come across as somebody who's very helpful and kind. You actually have a lot of his energy, of that kind of guidance energy. You have good wisdom as well. Do you have people coming up to you all the time and just telling you things, even people you don't even know, kind of like dumping on you?
Yeah, I get complimented all the time on random things, and even they just like come to me with their problems a lot too, or just someone to talk to. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, you have a really good energy that kind of goes out from your body that basically tells people around you that you're safe, that you will hear them, you'll respond appropriately. You're not going to go blabbing everything all over the world. Do. And you reassure people a lot. And he's very much acknowledging that, how you reassure people. And part of it, you've had enough of your own experiences. So you speak from authority. It's like, well, I went through that too, and I can do it, you can do it. And because you do that, you're helping them see it's possible. So you're actually providing hope for other people. And as you're doing that, you're actually strengthening your own power too, so that you'll be able to handle the next thing that comes along, because you can handle it. It's amazing, actually. Yeah. So much good energy coming through for you. He's so proud of you. And there's so much love coming through. He's talking about signs, and then I just have a couple seconds, and then I've got to go. But there's a sign. I want to look at birds. So if you see some birds doing odd things, think of him, because I think you're going to start noticing more of that kind of thing. Okay? Yeah. So they might be either big birds circling or a bird at your window, just different, not just normal things.
Yeah, so I like to look at birds a lot. I notice them a lot, even just by walking on the street. I'll look at them all the time.
Oh, good. So just acknowledging that. Well, I will leave you that with his love. It was so nice talking to you. You have a great night.
Okay, thank you so much. You too. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. And that was Megan, or Megan, I'm not sure which actually, from Canada. And isn't it wonderful when we get spirits who come in and like to share things and like to tell us, just, kind of affirm who we are and what we've done. I do want to thank you so much for watching and listening today. And if you have any assumptions, just look at everything with new eyes. It will change everything. You can connect with me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, and I'm Colleen Vanderzyden. And thank you so much for watching and listening. And I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.